So we are going to be moving on from when we left off from Rome. We've been doing a lot of review on previous material and chapters in the past. I'm going to be moving forward with our work, though, by also reviewing previous concepts so that we continue to move on from the subject and not exclusively do a subject review, but we will be doing this in a way that we can still review our concepts that we're working on through social studies. Today we are going to start talking about Islam and the Muslim Empire, specifically geography and Muhammad's vision. The concepts that we're doing specifically today explain how invasions, conquests, and migrations affected societies and regions. We have talked about this many times in social studies. Invasions, conquests, migrations affect societies and regions all the time. That is how societies develop. In particular, we are talking about today the Bedouins who frequently migrated across the Arabian Peninsula, and this culture that surrounded the Bedouins helped start Islam. And you will see why in just a second. But first, we are going to be talking about the geography of the region. Okay, so the geographic setting of the Islamic empire that would start to form in Muhammad himself is that the Arabian Peninsula is mostly desert, but farming is possible through irrigation, and there are certain oases. Now, an oasis, please remember this because it's a vocabulary word, that's why it's both underlined and bolded, is a fertile area in a desert watered by a natural well or spring. So there are certain areas in desert that can be very fertile, and oasis would be this area. Now, there were many Arab clans occupying Arabia at the time of Muhammad, many different Arab clans. Now, Bedouins were nomadic herders. We talked about what nomads are, guys, earlier in social studies. Nomads are people that move around a lot, and they are herders. They used camels to cross the desert in search for seasonal pasture land. They crossed it to look for seasonal pasture land that they could use for their animals. Unfortunately, though, raids for scarce grazing land led to a lot of warfare in the area. Bedouins would eventually form the backbone of the armies that would conquer a huge empire in the 600s and 700s CE or 80. Bedouin culture, these nomadic herders, formed the big foundation for Islamic culture as it would start to form in the 600s and 700s. They traded with other Arabs who had settled in oasis towns, and one of these was Mecca. So this is where the Arabian Peninsula is, guys. This is the setting for the rise of Islam, right here in this area. The vast majority of this is desert. Not all of it, guys, but the vast majority of the Arabian Peninsula is desert. And these are modern-day Bedouins that have a lot of similarity to the sort of culture that Bedouins in the ancient world, not quite ancient, but in the old world actually had. These are modern-day Bedouins that follow a similar sort of culture. They are nomadic herders. Okay, so let's talk Mecca. So Mecca was a busy market town at the crossroads of two main caravan routes. One linked southern Arabia, Syria, and Palestine on the Mediterranean coast. There was another route that linked southern Arabia to Syria and Palestine on the Mediterranean coast. And another route crossed from Mesopotamia to eastern Africa. So Mecca was also a thriving pilgrimage center, in addition to just being a route that caravans go across. Arabs came to pray at the Kaaba, and the Kaaba is an ancient shrine that Muslims of today believe was built by Prophet Abraham. In Muhammad's time, though, the Kaaba housed statues of many local gods and goddesses. So the role of the Kaaba would change as Islam came about. Originally, the Kaaba held statues of many local gods and goddesses, but it would eventually change and become a sacred area in Islam. And this pilgrim traffic of Mecca would bring a lot of good profits to local merchants. And this is Mecca today. This is the shrine Muslims of today will make a holy pilgrimage to Mecca, and it is largely regarded as the most important moment in a Muslim's life. They can make this pilgrimage. So the role of the Kaaba changed when Muhammad came about, but it has been there for a long time, even though its role has changed as Islam became the dominant religion of the area. So Muhammad's vision. Muhammad was born in Mecca about 570. In his youth, he worked as a shepherd among Bedouins. Remember, we talked about Bedouins forming a big rock culture that Islam would spring off of. Muhammad himself was a shepherd among the Bedouins when he was young. He later would lead caravans across the desert, and he would become a successful merchant. So like other people who would ride caravans through Mecca, Muhammad would be one of those sort of people. He became very successful. And when he was about 25, Muhammad married Khadija. And Khadija was a wealthy widow who ran a wealthy caravan business. So she had a wealthy caravan business of herself. According to accounts of Muhammad, he was a very devoted husband and loving father to his daughters. Now, Muhammad at the time was very troubled by idol worship and what he perceived to be moral ills of society, worshiping these idols might have been in the Kaaba at the time before its role changed, in addition to other idols that might have been scattered around. So when Muhammad was about 40, he went to a desert cave to meditate. And according to Muslim belief, he heard a voice recite. Muhammad replied, "What shall I recite?" And the voice explained, "Recite in the name of your God, Creator who created man from clots of blood." According to Muslim belief, Muhammad understood that it was the voice of the Gabriel calling to be messenger of God. But he was terrified and puzzled as he was an illiterate merchant. Why exactly would I be chosen for this role? And Khadija, his wife, according to Muslim belief, encouraged him to answer this call, and she became the very first convert to this faith called Islam. And the word for Islam comes from the Arabic word to submit and accept this true God, in essence. And he urged Arabs to give up their false gods and submit to one true God. And in Arabic, the word for God is Allah. That is literally what the word Allah means. It is the word for God in Arabic. All right, please move on to your activity. Thank you.